Joining me in studio, Audrey Denny, another Just Democrat in California. Wait a minute, I think I've got it.
Oh.
That's right. Audrey, great to have you here.
So great to be here.
Okay.
Truly an honor.
Thank you. It's preposterous, but thank you. So there's a lot to talk about here. First of all, you're into agriculture, so that's fascinating. You've even taught agriculture.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I grew up near an agriculture school in the middle of New Jersey.
Okay.
Which is slightly strange, but anyway, but you're in California's first district, okay? Do you go around going, we're number one?
No, I haven't yet, but that might ring true.
Yeah, well, you are number one in California in that sense. Where is California's first district?
So we're the 11 counties in the northeast part of the state. So we go all the way up to Oregon with Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and all the way over to Nevada. And then we dip around and get a tiny bit of Placer County.
Okay, so the parts that people don't go to. Okay, I got it. No, the people of the first district are amazing, and they do agriculture. So is that where you grew up, or did you grow up somewhere else in California?
So I grew up on a family farm on the Central Coast in southern Monterey County. We had beef cows and we had draft horses and wine grapes. And then I moved to Chico, where I live now 15 years ago, to study agriculture at the university. And I wound up falling in love with the North State. It's my favorite part of the entire world. I've lived overseas a couple times, but I just keep coming back home to Northern California.
So what do you love about it?
It's so beautiful. It's some of the most beautiful land. And we're driving through LA to get here. There's a little bit of traffic.
No.
And we just don't have traffic in Northern California, at least in the first district. Not a lot. And some of the most beautiful natural scenery that you see, some of the most beautiful agriculture industry. We have forests, we have water, and it's just a gorgeous place to live.
Well, these days in America, when you say you have water, people actually get jealous.
Yeah.
Like that's the sad state that we're in. They're like, oh, good, clean water, that's good. And of course, the districts have roughly the same number of people, the congressional districts. But in LA, we fit the same number of people in about 3 blocks.
Right.
That you fit into 11 gigantic counties in Northern California. So you taught agriculture too, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, so having done all that, and it's on your list of priorities, if you're in Congress, what do you do about that?
Oh man, so much. So my whole platform, everything that I like to talk about centers around justice. And for me, the big issue when I travel around to my 11 counties is we're experiencing economic injustice. We're the resource-rich part of the state with our timber and our water and our beautiful agriculture land, but the people who live in my district are poor. 7 of my 11 counties are in the 15 poorest counties in the state, and folks don't have economic opportunity. So with every single aspect of my platform, I'm hoping to be boosting our rural economic engines. And a big part of that is agriculture. So we want to be, from an agriculture perspective, we want to be looking at how we can help our small and our mid-sized farmers continue turning a profit, how we can make sure we provide them with local food infrastructures like coolers and processing facilities so we can keep more of our food and our food dollar in the county. But we also want to be incentivizing agriculture practices that actually regenerate the soil. Because when we're and I could talk about carbon sequestration for about 45 minutes, I'm not gonna do that. But when we're using regenerative ag practices, we're actually mitigating climate change at the same time.
Finally, carbon sequestration. I can't even say it. That's but it is an important topic. So, and I love that you're focused on justice. And I love that you're focused on agriculture because I learn something new on the show all the time. And it's not a lot of candidates that are, so it's great. It'd be great to have that advocate in Congress. But on the justice issue, I have to confess that I'm the one who named the Justice Democrats. And it was exactly for what you're saying. Economic justice, but also justice across the board, social justice, and just plain old, hey, can we get a little justice for the average American, for the middle class, and yes, for the poor as well. And you know, every candidate that I talk to that comes from more rural areas say, for you guys in the urban centers in LA, New York, Washington, you'd be shocked at how little money people make. And so, and you've got some of the poorest counties in California in your area. So how do we get their wages up?
Let me tell you, I think you and I are going to be fast friends because the very the very core of my being, the soul of who I am, is a person that believes in the inherent equality and dignity and worth of all humans, right? And for me, justice is the actions that we take in the world to lead into that belief and how that's manifested in our actions. And so last Thursday, I was in Susanville, county seat of Lassen County, really, really rural. And I met a woman, single mom of 3. We were meeting in the pizza factory, and she ran up and she grabbed me right away, and she said, "Listen, Audrey, I need to talk to you." So she introduced me to her 3 kids, and she says, "Listen, I work full time. I make $2,700 a month. But after I pay my rent, my car payment that I need to get to my job, and my utility bills, I've spent $2,500 of that. So I have $200 left over to feed my 3 girls." And she walked me through that, and she was like, I qualify for Medi-Cal, but I'm not getting my CalFresh benefits. I'm not getting my SNAP payment. What do I do? And so we're talking about her county caseworker and how complex the paperwork is, and trying to work through the steps. And her middle daughter comes up and tugs on her sleeve and says, "Mommy, I'm hungry." And I've got nieces and nephews, and kids are whiny sometimes, and any other day I would have written that off, right? But this little girl was hungry in the pizza factory because she's chronically undernourished. And we live in a society in 2018 where a single mother of 3 working full-time cannot feed her family, and that is an injustice, right? And the issues, what I can do about that are fight for, advocate for a living wage, get to $15 an hour across the country, make sure that we're protecting our social services and our social safety nets, making sure that the Farm Bill includes robust nutritional assistance, and making sure that those systems have justice baked into them instead of the injustice that is there now.
You said $2,700 a month, right?
Yeah.
And I want people to get a sense of context, because I think almost no one in power has that sense. That's over $30,000 a year. But if you make the federal minimum wage, that's $7.25. That's only $15,000 a year.
Yeah.
How is anyone going to live on $15,000 a year? That's a little over $1,000 a month. It's impossible. And they say, and some right wingers say, no, the minimum wage is too high, or we shouldn't have it. And so we have got to get uncorrupted progressives into Congress. Mm-hmm. We've got to get real change. Yeah. So you're a Just Democrat. That means you don't take corporate PAC money.
Yes, sir.
So I know there's a lot of, you got a Republican incumbent. He is beatable in this wave election, very much so. But you've got other folks in the primary. Mm-hmm. So for the folks at home wondering, okay, why Audrey, why not the others?
Yeah. So we have a full primary ticket. There'll be 7 on the ballot on June 5th in 15 days. And the candidates are campaigning to various degrees of intensity and professionalism. But I will win in June 5th, and I'll win in November for 2 reasons. The first is that we are building a broad coalition of voters that the first district has never seen coming together around one candidate. Obviously, we're activating the progressive base of the Democratic Party with my JD endorsement just by being here. That's pretty evident. We have a collection of millennial voters and the voters who are just turning 18 that are activated. A lot of them are no party preference voters, but they're activated like we've never seen. We've got 8 college interns. We've got high school students knocking doors every day for our campaign. But I'm also reaching into our historically, or not historically, but our recently disenfranchised Republican brothers and sisters. And I'm saying, hey, you're not being represented either. And so we're coming together around a message of shared common values and around a message of when we step out of our hyper-partisan corners and we look for a space where we agree. We look for a space where we know that it's an injustice that this mother can't feed her family. We start there, and then we can make real change. And so we're building this broad coalition of support, which will get us a win number. But the second thing is we have an infrastructure that is set up, and we've created a movement in the first. Small dollar donations have allowed us to hire 5 full-time staff. We have 2 offices and 6 hubs throughout the district. We have the infrastructure in place, but the volunteers have made it their own. It's been amazing. It's when I've been able to point people to this vision of what the North State could be and to this vision of what justice looks like in our part of the world. But they've taken that and they've made it their own. And it's a movement for social change, and that kind of energy I don't think you can stop.
I love that talk of a vision of what justice looks like in this country. But wouldn't that be amazing if we got to that vision? Wouldn't it be amazing if we had real people who care about their community actually representing them in Congress? So everybody, look, I want you to get the links here for Audrey Denny. You have got to support folks who are in it for you, okay, and not in it for the donors. So audreyforcongress.com. If you're watching this later on YouTube or Facebook, please go, description box has the links, really easy. Go there to donate, to volunteer, do whatever you have to do. 600 volunteers already, that's really remarkable. You not only have you're right on the issues in my estimation, but you have the right game plan to win. And people I know in Washington think, well, in order to win in a so-called Republican district, what you have to do is you have to go and be as corporate as the Republican is, right? But in rural Northern California, is there really clamoring for more power for corporations and big business? No, they want uncorrupted candidates, right?
Every single person I talk to, regardless of political affiliation, when I say we need to stop corruption by getting the toxic effect of money out of politics, cheers break out in every single room that I go into. And people in the North State are ready for a representative with integrity that will only be beholden to the people who live in that district.